A recent social media post from a North Texas real estate agent got the attention of our NBC5 response team. A new home buyer closed on a house just before the new year with a 3% interest rate. Average 30-year fixed rates are closer to 7% these days. So how did the buyer do it? Our Deanna Zoga has their answer.
I like it.
Ready to purchase their first home, Sarah and Terry Diamond spent months searching for the right fit.
Space.
Bigger kitchen, bigger lot.
They settled on a house in Sanger with a big yard for their kids and financed it with an interest rate of 3.125%.
Anyone I've told, like, close work friends that work next to me and stuff like that, I think I'm lying to them. Yeah, they're like,
I think
how'd
you
you
mix
get
those
3%?
Up.
And I'm like, assumable loan.
An assumable mortgage. In basic terms, it means a qualified buyer takes over the seller's loan, including the interest rate, payment schedule, and loan balance. Some of you may recognize an assumable loan as a vestige of double-digit interest rates. In 1981, buyers were looking at 18%. Today, the Diamond's real estate agent says houses with assumable mortgages get lots of interest.
It was a huge selling point for the reason they chose this home.
As with any major financial decision, Chastity Carbaugh explains there's a list of trade-offs to consider, like the buyer would typically have a bigger down payment. For example, if someone is buying a house for $400,000, taking over the seller's assumable mortgage with a $300,000 balance, the buyer would need to cover the $100K difference. Carbaugh says it can be doable for buyers who are coming out of a home that saw an increase in its value.
Any home buyers that maybe bought their home when the market was great, when everybody was happy, between late 2018 to 2020, have a ton of equity.
Another important distinction: conventional mortgages are not generally assumable, other than very specific circumstances like a spouse assuming one in a divorce. Only certain government-backed VA, FHA, or USDA loans can be transferred to a new buyer. A new owner doesn't have to be a veteran to assume a VA loan, but the seller should consider their VA entitlement. It would be tied up as long as the buyer keeps the old loan. With FHA loans, real estate agent and broker Jared Ty points out buyers typically have to pay a mortgage insurance premium.
Obviously, you want to weigh, each scenario, but it can absolutely make sense to do the assumption.
We wondered, how would a buyer find a 2024 house with a 2021 interest rate? We looked at real estate websites, adding assumable as a key word in the advanced search. Listings that mentioned 2, 3, 5% assumable interest rates came up. Ty says the information isn't always in the marketing, so it helps to know what questions to ask.
Never hurts to, have your agent call and say, hey, what kind of loan do they have on the current house? Let's see if we can get creative.
We had no idea what an assumable loan was before we dove into this.
It worked for the Diamonds. Now moving into a precious find.
We have a house that we can actually afford, that we can afford to do upgrades to throughout the years because we're not spending $4,000 a month on a mortgage.
Deanna Zoga, NBC5 Response.
All right, now, as with any big decision, you want to read the fine print, do your research, also get qualified help. Ty says that a seller would want to ensure the assumption is approved by the lender to confirm that they're not on the note if a new owner later defaults. Now, buyers would also have to meet certain criteria to qualify and factor in other fees and the time that it may take to close on the house. Now, the Diamonds agents say it took them a little over 60 days to close on their house.